On this edition of Crossover Thursday, can the Arizona Cardinals turn things around after 2 embarrassing losses in a row?
The Jacksonville Jaguars have had a habit of struggling against backup quarterbacks who start. I hope it doesn't continue this week.
Let's hope it does.
You are Locked On NFL Crossover, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Thursday, week 12, appreciate football. Appreciate football. It's almost gone. You feel like it's in the middle. It's almost gone. It's going to be the new year before you know it. Alex Clancy, Locked On Cardinals. Tony Wiggins, my dear friend, Locked On Jaguars. We are Crossover Thursday. Thank you for making Crossover Thursday your first listen. Now part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast platform on the planet and probably other planets. There's only one Tony Wiggins. So it's got to be just on Earth. Tony and I are going to talk about a lot today. 2 teams with different trajectories, maybe with the same trajectories going into the season. New head coach one place, third-year head coach in the other. One is out coaching the other. We're going to talk about biggest storylines. We'll catch the opposing fan bases up on what the hell's going on with our respective teams, most important matchups, and obviously keys to victory in the final segment. Tony Wiggins, tell me what an offensive-minded head coach has done for your polarizing former #1 overall pick in Trevor Lawrence. Maybe a new age offensive coach, I should say.
Yeah, he kind of works on his psyche a little bit. He's helped him with some technical things like his feet and where his feet are positioned when he's releasing the ball, making things easier pre-snap. Don't make him overthink things. Trevor's kind of hard on himself a little bit. So I think as of late, too, he's taught him how to just don't worry about it, man. Just let it rip. And to not get bogged down by a couple of bad plays and then allow that to continue to linger on and on and on. He gets out of funks a little bit quicker, at least in the games that they won. And some of the games that they lost now, he did not do that. But I think as of late, it's almost like he's giving Trevor this feeling that just be who you are, man. It doesn't matter about you living up to anything. You're super, super talented. Just let it rip. And Liam is a former quarterback, so he probably looks at Trevor from a lens like, whoo, boy, he's got stuff that I didn't have. And he's been coaching for a while, and he probably compares that to a lot of people that he has coaching. He probably realizes that Trevor Lawrence is super, super talented. We just have to take that variance between him playing very high and very low and kind of balance it out a little bit so it makes his consistency look, feel, and actually be where it needs to be in order to be a quarterback that can possibly win a championship.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting part about Trevor Lawrence, and we've dealt with this here with Kyler Murray, is like you can't make them dance the waltz. It's got to be jazz. It's got to be things that are just let the kids be offbeat. Because the metronome bleep isn't gonna happen. And you know what, Liam Cohen coming over from Baker, like Baker and Trevor are a lot more similar than people think. And you just wish that Baker's dog was in every NFL quarterback. And I think Trevor and Kyler Murray alike, you know, there's shortcomings with that at times. With the Cardinals, somebody that you know pretty well, former Gator, Jacoby Brissett, is taken the Valley by storm in a sense that the worst possible scenario has happened. Oh no, this offense looks better with the backup. And this is not a knock on Jacoby Brissett, who revitalized the Colts when Andrew Luck retired. This dude has played meaningful snaps in every spot that he's been in, whether it's Miami or he ushered in the Deshaun Watson year where he won way more games than they thought he would. This dude is not 40 years old over the hill. This guy is a dude who can come in with his old man strength like Joe Flacco and just rip it. And 47-57 last week, a lot of it was in garbage time. But I think I'm at the point now, Tony, where it's like the Band-Aid's ripped off. You made a mistake. Let the kid eat and roll with him into 2026 if he's able to continue to do this at some sort of competent level for the rest of the season. From your side, you see numbers. You use your eyes like I do. Everything has been unlocked since Jacoby Brissett took over, irrespective of win-loss.
Yeah, what I saw against Dallas, I was like, ooh, he's whipping it. But I come from a perspective where, me being 56, I remember when we were kids, you knew who the backup quarterback was for every single team because they were there for a decade. You go back to Jeff Hostetler, and I remember Don Strock was the backup in Miami for a number of years. You knew who the backup was. You knew what his strengths was. You knew what his weaknesses was. Now these guys move around. It's either like if you're not a starter, you got to just be a really good dude that holds a clipboard. Jacoby is a throwback to the way the quarterbacks used to be. Now, there are some backups that are just the smart guy that's there for the starter, that is familiar with, like we have Nick Mullins, right? He's super familiar with the program that was run in Minnesota, which is the same offense he's basically running here to a certain degree. He's a comfortable guy. He's a guy that you can get by. But Jacoby Brissett and guys like Mac Jones, no, they are dudes that are probably going to be career backups because people don't believe they can take them to a Super Bowl. But they have starter material in their body. And Jacoby is unlike a lot of backups where you get the guy who doesn't have the physical skills, but he has the wherewithal mentally to be a dude that can work something, right? Jacoby is actually a dude with an arm, sort of like Jameis Winston too, that is starter caliber. That's the thing that scares you. Now, I'm not saying that they're not smart, but what I am telling you is quarterbacks lead with different things. They lead with that arm strength and that ability to push the ball down the field. They're not consistent enough to be considered starters, but they can bite you at any moment, man, because it's not a lack of talent. When you have a lack of talent, that'll catch up with you. They don't have a lack of talent. They just have a lack of consistency. So that's what scares me about Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, and I want to jump into the running backs here in a second, but like the thing with Jacoby, it's like if Sam Darnold could be a reclamation project, why can't Jacoby Brissett be in the right offense? Like, again, because he's not 40. So that's the thing. It's very TBD. It's very new, and he's had zero run game to speak of. I mean, 2.6 yards per carry last week. He's thrown the ball 57 times at an 80% completion clip. It's insane. Michael Wilson and Trey McBride, we've seen it all. Travis Etienne, Bashaw Tutin, Liam Cohen's new, Rashad White, and Bucky Irving. Travis Etienne is probably, in my opinion, the most underrated running back in football. Okay? They didn't know how to use him the first couple weeks after he exploded. It was the Tutin experiment. It was Tank Bigsby still there. He scares me far more than anything in the past game on Sunday because, and in dump offs you include in the run game than anybody else. I feel like he should have 6 more touchdowns than he does now. He's dropped it to 1 multiple times this year. Talk to me about Travis Etienne and how he's helped get them to 6-4.
Travis is a good player. He hasn't turned the ball over. He had a problem with that a year ago, but he has not turned the ball over, and because he's not getting hit as quickly. I think they know how to use him. I think he had to kind of get on board and just kind of get used to the things that they wanted him to do. And then a little bit of it too was that they still did have Tank. They were using 3 backs. They talked about at one point that usually you go into a game with 2 in your game plan, and I think that they were just trying to figure it out. But he's a very, very good player. He can make the home run. He catches the ball very well. What I really like about him is the body lean. When you make contact, he usually gets that little half yard or that quarter of a yard.
It's the Eddie George effect. Yeah,
that's right. I call it Eddie George, as well as Terry Allen used to do that very well back in the day. He always seemed like once we make contact, you go backwards. I don't, and that has been a very, very nice thing for the Jaguars. And the fact that they have developed Tutin to the point where he gives them some quality snaps. And he's actually a bigger home run threat than Travis Etienne. He's the fastest player on the team. So he's a very, very good player, man. And I would agree that he's one of the most underrated. He's a free agent too, by the way. He's playing on his 5th-year option right now. I hope they bring him back. But he is a good candidate and a good guy. And I like what you said about the 1-2 punch because that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, and the Cardinals are devoid of that completely, losing James Conner and Trey Benson. Trey Benson's 21-day window was open yesterday. Amari DiMercato is not going to play on Sunday, so we'll see if they rush him back today or if he's a week out and they keep rolling with Bam Knight and Michael Carter, which isn't ideal, but Jacoby Brissett has shown that they can keep him in games. The defense for both of these teams are Jekyll and Hyde. I don't know how the Jacksonville Jaguars can give up 36 points to this Houston offense with that offensive line and then hold the Chargers to less than a touchdown. Like, it doesn't make any sense. With the Cardinals, they got 19 points per game in the first 5 weeks. They were 2-3. And the wheels have fallen off after the bye with giving up an 80 burger between the last 2 weeks. We'll talk about that in the biggest matchups. This is, both of these teams have anomaly in them. Unfortunately for the Cardinals, it's gone down a negative path this year. And beneficial for the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's gone the other way, holding a playoff spot right now. We'll discuss it more. Tony Wiggins, Alex Clancy, crossover Thursday. Next. Today's episode of Crossover Thursday is brought to you by Bink Prize Picks. So Prize Picks is awesome. Prize Picks is dummy proof. I can use it. We make decisions every day, and on Prize Picks, you can get paid for them. Don't miss out on the excitement with the NFL. NBA is in full swing. NBA has been Looney Tunes this year with the production. And Prize Picks is so fun to jump in. And if you don't know how to use it, you pick 2 to 6 players, more or less than their player stats, and you get paid if you're right. It takes less than 60 seconds to make up your lineup, and you can play anywhere Prize Picks operates, including California, Texas, Georgia, etc. They've got a stack feature now, which I didn't have before, where you can use the same player and pick multiple stats. So you can do Steph Curry over points, over 3-pointers, and under assists, all in the same lineup. You were unable to do that. That's something they rolled out this year. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNFL for $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. All right, Tony Wiggins, Locked on Jaguars. Alex Clancy, Locked on Cardinals. Week 12. I say this every damn crossover. If you don't appreciate football, shame on you. We're 2/3 of the way through the season. It felt like yesterday, and my hairline, that's because of the Cardinals, Tony. Biggest matchup for me. I'm going to go first. This is the Trey McBride show. No Marv. Yep. This is the Michael Wilson show. No Marv. With Jacoby Brissett, irrespective of if people think that Kyler Murray is the better quarterback, which he probably is, this offense is best suited for a big guy who can stand in the pocket and huck it. And what we saw from Michael Wilson, 15 for 185 last week, was not a fluke. Some of it was in garbage time. In garbage time and fluky, very few instances will there be almost 200 receiving yards in a game. And Trey McBride, you're looking across the country, you're like, damn, I wish 85 was repping a Jaguars jersey. That's it. It's going to be those two. It's going to be Greg Dortch, because if Trey Benson doesn't come back, it's going to be another 45-yard passing production game for Jacoby Brissett. So the biggest matchup for me is the DBs and the backers or safety. Who's going to line up against Trey McBride, and can Michael Wilson do it again?
That's a big one, because we did the squad show earlier, and we all picked Trey McBride. Well, I think I picked Calais Campbell for another reason, but everybody wanted to pick Trey McBride as the guy that's a problem. They got to bunch him up at the line, bang on him a little bit, and possibly try some bracket coverages and make sure that when you let him go, the other guy picks him up. So I think the key is really going to be the pressure. Trayvon Walker didn't practice today, and we don't know to what extent he's banged up. I know he hurt his knee the other day in the game, so we'll see if he's available. But Josh Hines-Allen and B.J. Green and some other young players, and our own version of Calais Campbell, Eric Armstead, they had to get after the quarterback. I wouldn't be surprised if defense coordinator Anthony Campanile sent people in the A-gap, rushed off of the corner with the safety coming off the edge, Devin Lloyd. Devin Lloyd can play a big role in space against Trey McBride in the short, shallow areas. He could also be another pass rusher. Like I said, I know you guys are into your depth with running backs, and people only think that affects running. That affects pass protection a lot more than anything else. And then with you also being into the depth of your offensive line, you got to think that that's not an ideal situation at picking up something exotic and something hot and certain twists. So I think if Jacoby wants to sit back there in the pocket and take 5-step drops, he's going to have to do it under a lot of heat and pressure. And it depends on whether that pressure comes and if the Jaguars DBs can be sticky enough to stop the people that will be on the field for Arizona.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the thing that allowed Jacoby Brissett to throw for the yardage that he threw with the completion percentage they did was the 49ers pass rushes, it's relegated to, D2 ball at this point with everybody that's been hurt. Mm-hmm. Kelvin Beachum started with Jonah Williams out. It was the best right tackle production we've seen all year. If you want to attack the Cardinals, it's the right tackle position and left guard position. That's it. Paris Johnson Jr. is going to be the left tackle for the future. He already is. Yalta Froholtz is one of the most underrated centers in football, but a center can only do as well as his guards do. And with Will Hernandez on the right side, big-bodied guy, Evan Brown is a problem. And that's how Seattle abused the Cardinals. That's how the Packers with Micah Parsons took advantage of them with Rashawn Gary and Micah Parsons up the A-gap. that's going to be the biggest issue because Jacoby Brissett got sacked 5 times in the first half against Seattle. So this is a ticking time bomb. If you can't run the ball and you can't block anybody, you may as well just down the ball on every down and punt it. Like you've got no chance with pass pro 55 times a game. It's not sustainable. So the Cardinals need to figure it out for sure. Now, with the new look wide receiving core and the question marks surrounding the Arizona Cardinals DB, Will Johnson again didn't practice. He's top 5 rated PFF guy as a rookie this year. He's going to be an absolute demon for a decade. Garrett Williams is healthy. He's going to come back and play after leaving even last week. But Jacoby Myers he's just a target merchant. Like the dude is an absolute, like he's a Stephon Diggs, Keenan Allen light, probably more Stephon Diggs because he's a little bit quicker twitch. Parker Washington is going to wreak havoc on this team. You know, if you're not a fantasy football player, you don't know I start him every week. After Brian Thomas went out, I'm going to ask you about Brian Thomas, but I don't have a problem with this receiving core as being B+ if the scheme is right. And I know that Liam Cohen's going to be able to cook something up. Talk to me about Brian Thomas's injury and the emergence of Jacoby Myers. Like after 2 quarters, he immediately was a part of the team, which was wild to see.
Absolutely. BT was not having a real good year. And it seemed like he was about to come out of it. And then he got banged up. But he took a couple of hard hits on some slants and shallow crosses in the preseason. And it seemed like it started to affect him. And thinking too much, not being able to pull in contested passes. Some of them hit him right in the hands, but others, where he was a jump ball guy, he went up and he had it. But it seems like you can tell when a guy's, I guess in golf, they call it having the yips. And that's what he had, right? So he gets hurt. He might benefit by sitting and watching. I don't think he's going to play this week. But you're right about Jacoby. What he is a professional pass catcher. And I compared him to Keenan McCardell, who was a practice squad player at 2 stops before he became a big-time receiver here in Jacksonville and went on to have a great career as a Super Bowl champion and now is one of the best wide receiver coaches on the planet. Joe Horn kind of had the same type of career when he was with Kansas City, and then he goes to New Orleans and he becomes a local celebrity and a superstar. It's guys like that. It's professional pass catchers. It's as soon as you hit the ground and get off the airplane, you can go 3 catches for 60 yards with 2 first downs just like that. You've seen the dudes that just know how to get open, how to snap the ball, and his superpower is the fact that he does not drop passes, and the Jaguars have 2 guys. De'Ami Brown is the other one that rank in the top 10 in the league this year in drop passes. And they needed those sure hands. One, because it extends drives. And when you talk about what happened with Houston, technically the defense only gave up 29 points. On the last play of the game, it was a fluke.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah, that's right.
They ran it back. But what happened in that game is they didn't get a first down until that last drive when they were sitting there trying to score. The Jaguars kept going 3 and out. And sometimes those drops hurt you, especially if it's on first down and you could have had a 2nd and 2 and you get a drop. And this didn't necessarily happen in that game, but in some of the other games that they lost, they had drops that did not allow them to continue to eat up the clock and keep the other defense on the field and to keep their defense off the field. So that's where those drops really hurt you. It just breaks your momentum, man, and it doesn't allow you to run your game plan the way you want it to run.
Yeah, no, for sure. And the thing, with Marv, we'll talk with both second-year guys. Marv almost broke down crying after that huge contested catch against Seattle. Like, these guys are kids, man. Like, seriously, it's the wildest thing. BT, Brian Thomas Jr. didn't have the expectation. I mean, he was, around combine time, they were floating like he's going to go mid-first round. You took him, didn't you, in our mock draft?
I did.
And we laughed at you. We were like, there's no way he goes that high. And then you nailed that. And like with Marv going 4 and then Neighbors going 6 or whatever the hell he went, like for me, the best ability is availability. And that's why I give Marv, he's played almost every, I know he's out now with an appendectomy, but let's let these kids mature a little bit before you crown them or you kill them. It's like Brian Thomas Jr. had a breakout year last year, which is fantastic. He's going to be good for years to come. The trade stuff, really quick, was there any merit to that?
No, I don't think that. I think there was merit to the fact that people made phone calls. They're not ready to give up on him. Just think about it. It's his 2nd year. He's a first-round pick. They have a chance to put a 5th-year option on him. There's just too much good tape from last year. You don't get almost 90 catches and 1,200 yards in this league and have it be an accident. So you do kind of hope that mentally it comes back. I know there was also an offensive, there's a total change in the staff. So the catches that he makes now are catches that we've seen Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp and the two guys in Minnesota make, but they do require you to go across the middle and have a little bit of courage. And the thing about any player on the football field, but especially a wide receiver, if you're scared, you might as well not be playing. So I think there's still a little bit of a determination that did something happen to spook this kid, and he has to figure out how to get his confidence back. It's almost like Ben Simmons. That's what it felt like. It felt like Ben Simmons. It's like you forget that dude is a walking triple-double. You have a layup and won't even shoot it because he's afraid to miss it. So that's what it comes down to, and you just hope that he can find a way to get it back.
Did you just play off throwback me from 4 years ago?
I did.
Oh, my God.
I did.
I wish we did a crossover basketball when I wish they let us talk basketball on this.
I'm petty like that. See, people don't understand how many times me and you have argued on Twitter about certain things in sports, and I'm petty like that. I'm tempted to bring all of that crap up, but I ain't going to do it.
For those that don't know, Tony Wiggins, huge LeBron James guy. Luckily, we have to go to Keys to Victory now, so we got to end this segment. Give Marv, give Brian Thomas Jr., give him some time. Like, the only thing with Trevor Lawrence, and I know we're going a little bit long, but Trevor Lawrence does have the proclivity to throw a ball where maybe it wouldn't be the best spot for a receiver to catch it.
Ball placement has been a little bit of an issue. It was last week on an interception that he threw.
Yeah.
The receiver made an outcut, and he threw it towards his back hip, and it got picked off.
Yeah. Well, it happens. I mean, he's the progression of things. It's not one A to B walk sometimes. To me, it's just a longer process. We're gonna get into Keys to Victory. Yes, turnovers is gonna be the first one. I say it every time, but there's gonna be more. I promise. We'll discuss it next. Crossover Thursday. Tony Wiggins, Alex Clancy. Today's episode of Crossover Thursday is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. And it's funny because we've seen so many fourth quarter comebacks, like bonkers ones. The Hawks were down 22, I think, to the Suns less than a week ago. There's been a bunch of back and forth games. The NBA is wide open outside of OKC because, they're a cheat code at this point because they have 97 first-round picks in the next 5 years. But you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay as you start to see the game change down the stretch. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up today and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, Crossover Thursday. I mean, the Cardinals have fared pretty well of late. They don't play Jaguars often. That's, I think, the only thing the Cardinals have going for them. Plus, it starts 0-0, which helps. I'm not a huge at this point, Tony, I don't know what the hell to think. So with Keys to Victory, the one thing that I do know with his history is Trevor Lawrence can turn the ball over. He is very good at it at times. He puts the ball on the ground so much more than a 6'5", whatever the hell he is, dude should be doing, and it's so frustrating. He throws bad balls at times. And then he's, top tier precision the next rep. So for me, make him turn the ball over. Get in his kitchen, get in his face, get him on the run, and just be opportunistic. The Cardinals cannot afford to drop an interception ball, cannot afford to not recover a fumble. They need to be proficient with that if the opportunity arises.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And while it sounds cliche, it's the absolute truth. The Jaguars, when they force turnovers, they win. And when Trevor turns it over, or anybody else for that matter, they don't. And that's seriously the key to them each and every week. But you're right. Some of Trevor's turnovers have been real head scratchers. And it usually comes at a real bad time. So those are the things, just for your listeners who haven't watched them, it's like Jay Cutler. You remember you saw Jay Cutler and Aaron Rodgers, you go, well, they both whipped the ball. I don't see a difference in their arm talent, but one guy was throwing 45 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, and the other guy was throwing 20 and 16. That's the thing that bothers you about him. But I warn you about something. He is at his absolute best when he gets dirty. If you hit him and you put a strawberry on his elbow, and he comes to the sideline and he turns into Gritty Trevor from Middle South Georgia instead of worrying about being the prince that was promised and sunshine and all of that stuff. He absolutely, when he gets put in a hurry, can whip you, just like he did against the Chiefs. And just like in every other game that he wins that people don't think that they're supposed to win, he'll turn into like Roger Staubach in a heartbeat, and that talent will come out. So sometimes you just got to be careful. I think the key for me, though, is they got to run the football. Mm-hmm. When they run the football, when they get 150 yards on the ground, they can control the clock, and then those windows get bigger in between the linebackers and the safeties, and that's when those throws don't have to be as exact. So for me, just control the controllable, make sure you don't turn it over, get the offensive line to get people moving and run the football and take a little bit of the pressure off of him. So now when you do play action and you let him rip, he can do it with confidence.
Yeah, that's right. And I told you in the first segment that Travis Etienne is the, public enemy number one for me going into Sunday, whether it be, in the intermediate or short route run or just him running the ball between the tackles. For me, the one thing that I want, the only thing that could trump that is Trevor Lawrence's legs. That's the thing where it's this gets silly. The rushing touchdowns inside the 10, there's been a couple of them this year. And one of them I could have walked through the hole where nobody knew a quarterback draw was they just spread it out. Oh, there's nobody here. Cool. I can moonwalk in here. But his ability to get in the end zone, this, not every talented NFL player has a nose for the end zone. Ezekiel Elliott had a nose for the end zone. LaDainian Tomlinson, nose for the end zone. Travis Etienne doesn't as much as other people. The fact that he's dropped to the one so many times, it blows my mind. But Trevor Lawrence can get his ass in the end zone if he's close. And it's something that scares me the most in the rush attack as a separate entity, because if he runs the ball, the Cardinals are screwed. What do you stop? That's a tertiary thing you got to watch out for. Trey McBride, just do it. I always use, with my listeners, Devontae Adams with Aaron Rodgers as an example. He's always open. Doesn't matter. Bracket, double, triple, always open. 10 red zone touchdowns a year. Everybody knows he's getting the ball. That speed across, that speed play action, and you just throw him the ball and he's open, touchdown. It's that's Trey McBride now, though. I haven't seen it since Fitz. He's always open. And he's always going to get the ball. He's going to have 10 catches for over 100 yards and a touchdown on Sunday. He just will. And that needs to happen for the Cardinals to keep this game close.
I agree with you. And if that happens, it's going to make it even closer. I'll take 10 for 120 and a tutty. What I can't get is what Brock Bowers did, which is either 200 or damn near close to it, where you just totally take the game over. That would absolutely destroy any chance that the Jaguars have of winning this game if they allow one person to get off like that. Dalton Schultz got loose at the wrong time in the fourth quarter when they had the Jaguars on skates and reeling in that game that they lost to Houston. But here's what I'll tell you to watch out for. They should have beat Houston and they should have beat Cincinnati. This should be a 2-loss team right now, okay? And those 2 losses were to NFC West teams. The Rams blew them out, and Seattle kind of opened the lead up on them and held them off a little bit. And then I looked at you guys' schedule and I realized you won one game that you probably were not favored in, and on paper it looked like you weren't going to win it, and that's Dallas. You definitely lost a game that you should never have lost against the Titans. But then the other 6 losses have been 2 to the 49ers, 2 to Seattle, 1 to Green Bay, and the other one to the Indianapolis Colts. Y'all weren't supposed to beat them anyway. So the thing is be careful looking at 3-7 and thinking that this is a walk in the park. It is absolutely not a walk in the park. And the Jaguars lost to Jake Browning and Davis Mills in those 2 games that I said that they should have won. This can't be a repeat. That's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid Jacoby will get hot and the Jaguars won't play their absolute best. And the Cardinals will be in it late. The crowd will be into the game. And then you're one Trey McBride completion away from hitting a field goal. That's the kind of stuff that scares me.
Yeah. No, and you're right. I mean, for Jaguars fans watching this, the Cardinals started 2-3. They gave up 19 points per game. They were 2-5. Those 5 points were those 5 losses were by combined 13 points. Indy, Green Bay, Seattle by 3, and the 49ers by 1. And Tennessee by 1. This team should have started much hotter win-loss wise than they've done. This is the most frustrating year I've had in my 9 here because there's no rhyme or reason as to why it's happening. The only thing that's worse than having a problem is not knowing what the problem is. I have no idea what the hell the problem is. Like, you have ideas, like everything's the problem. So it's like, what the hell are we doing here? And when you see a team like Jacksonville, it's like, it's muddy sometimes, but you get it done. You're 6-4. You beat Kansas City. You're in the 7 seed right now. You control your own fate regards to that for the most part because Kansas City's so far behind. Indy may fall back. Like, you guys are doing what the Cardinals are supposed to be doing this year. That was the emergence that was supposed to happen. And the Cardinals have been riddled with injury, but what team isn't?
Yeah, I know it. They've been fortunate. Like I said, they should be, instead of 6-4, 8-2. They could very well in a couple of those games also be 4-6. So they find a way to get it done, and I think that's a part of the DNA of this team. So I think they're going to find a way to get it done this week. I think it's going to be closer than people think, but as long as they get on the plane with a victory and they're 7-4, and then, it gets a little bit easier for them here for a week or two. So all of the teams that are in the playoff hunt along with them, like last week, they beat one of them. See, they beat the Chargers too. They beat the Chargers and the Chiefs. So those two teams are contending, but they're 1.5 games ahead of them. If they end up in the tie, the Jaguars have a half a game tiebreaker on both of those teams. So they really need this game. This is a game on paper they're supposed to win, and it's one I think they will win Sunday.
I think it'll be in the 20s. It's not like last possession wins. The Cardinals have shot themselves in the foot. The last 2 weeks, 2 were with the scoop and scores in Seattle, and the most recent was a 98-yard kickoff return to start the game that ended in a Christian McCaffrey touchdown 15 seconds into the game, and then that was it. Let's hope that it's a good game. Tony Wiggins, one of my best buds here. How many years have you been doing this? You 7?
Yeah, it's almost 7. It's 6.5 now for me at Lockdown. Yeah,
OGs. Now there's there's hundreds of people on this platform.
Yeah, I had a full hair of black hair when I started this, and now it's salt and pepper and grit.
Come on.
Yeah.
The Cardinals did it. Thanks for watching. We will talk to you on our respective podcasts tomorrow. That was Crossover Thursday, Week 12.